Microsoft Premier Gold partner, and we work across the entire Microsoft stack. We've been Microsoft's Partner of the Year the last few years, among many things. We've also been in their inner circle as well. So lots of awards, and we're not going to stop. We're going to keep growing, and customers and clients come first. With that being said, again, JourneyTEAM covers the Microsoft stack. We have teams and architects dedicated to each of these specialties. So it's not just like a one-stop shop where everyone knows a little bit about everything. These are specialties. We have an ERP team, CRM team, which falls under sales, marketing, customer service, field service. We have a cloud team, SharePoint collaboration team, Power BI, and then change management adoption. So we cover the Microsoft stack. And as you can tell, we're just continuing to grow. So with that being said, other than I will post the survey near the end, you guys know the drill. I'm going to kick it over to Eric and Rigo.
So what we're going to be going over today is the new and improved Dynamics Sales app. It is a different app in the App Store, and so that's the one that we're going to be talking about. So if you're following along on the old Dynamics one and you're wondering these guys are full of crap, what are they talking about? That's probably the number one clue. Other than that, you still may have to ask that question of what are they talking about. But that's what the chat window's for, as Jake mentioned. So during this presentation, if you do have any questions, we would love to answer those. This is going to be a little shorter than some of your other sessions. This one takes about 30-40 minutes to go through, and so hope you guys are looking forward to it, and you're welcome for the gift of time back at the end. If you don't know me, my name is Eric Bynes. I am the CRM practice director here at JourneyTEAM. I've been at JourneyTEAM almost 6 years and have been on the Dynamics product since it was in version 4.0, which takes me back to 2010. So been a part of the product for a while. Started our local user group back in 2011, and have been involved with the Dynamics community across the country really since then. So love the platform, love the users. If unknown tidbit of trivia about me, I also love naps. So it's one of my favorite things to do on a good Sunday afternoon, or on a lunch break in the backseat of your car. Power naps, I think pretty much save the world.
Agreed.
All right, Rigo.
Agreed. Hi all, Rigo Sierra, Senior Solution Architect here at JourneyTEAM. Been here at JourneyTEAM roughly going on 2 years. Been in the dynamic space for about 10, but I've been more eager than ever than the past 3 years how Microsoft has come along with Dynamics. So just super stoked to show you what we got in store for you guys today.
All right. So what we'll run through real quick, kind of why would you even consider using the mobile app? The second thing is we're going to go over some of the features that are slated to drop between December and February. And then we'll spend the bulk of our time actually on the what's available now. So what came out in release wave 1, what's going to be on the app when you go and download it off the App Store. And then again, we'll open it up for any chat Q&A at the end of the session. Okay, so Rigo, why should I care about the updates to the sales mobile app?
Great question. It's now a more intuitive mobile app experience. Now you don't have to go through different parts of the app to get to it. It's so intuitive that it lets your sales force, the people that are on the go, help them plan their day, do post and pre-meeting setup. It allows you to go in there and see what you have on the books for the day. It has some information that could be very tailored to each organization, that if you want specific information for meetings or whatnot based on your organization needs, you have all that at your fingertips, at the palm of your hands. You have anything from who's invited, the notes, and if there's anything that needs to that you need to reply back on a quick note on that, it gives you that functionality. So yeah, it's super easy. It's more tailored around your team that's on the go.
Yeah, I think after many years of continuing to lose out on the user experience and design side of how people use tools, Microsoft finally figured it out, or at least is starting to figure it out, and knowing that, oh, hey, we have to actually build apps that make sense and are understandable. And to Rigo's point, what's intuitive, right? Like, oh, hey, what's this big plus button at the bottom? That must be for me to add something, right? Like, so little things like that, you'll notice some of the changes, and kind of moves it to your more app-based experience as opposed to an enterprise application that they kept trying to squeeze down into a mobile interface. So I'd say that's one of the key differences, is they're finally recognizing that UX and design do have a seat at the table when it comes to software.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny thing. All right, what's coming down the pike? So again, as mentioned, between December and February, these were some of the key things that we thought were relevant to how people would use the Sales mobile app, and what some of the functionality would be that benefits them. So I'm not going to read through all of these one by one. Maybe that would extend our presentation time if I read slides. I can't do it. Can't read slides. But basically what it does is it's tying your Outlook or your Exchange data more tightly. It's making it easier to search. It's making it easier to enter in notes. You'll notice about halfway down, it talks more about like voice dictation. The collaboration is getting easier in terms of how you work with and interact with the activity timeline. And then kind of the big one towards the bottom is the integration with Teams that they're planning, where automatic logging of Teams calls into the timeline, into your activity feed. Those will be things that are now configurations and no longer integrations. So all exciting stuff, that's coming up here, hopefully in the next few months. Okay. But that's all nice and dandy, but what can I do now, right?
What can I get today?
Yeah, what can I get today? So I think you guys should be able to hear the sound on this. So Jake, I'm going to need your help. I wanted to show everybody the Microsoft video, but let me know if you can hear it, Barry.
Yep. I don't believe I can.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, let me start over. Should have allowed for that, but try it one more time. Go ahead and
I still don't hear it. It's a tricky setting in Teams to get the audio from what you're showing to play through. I've had that before.
I'm using PowerPoint Live, so I'm trying to use that, which is a great tool because you can do things like a laser pointer in PowerPoint Live, but apparently I can't get the sound to play. So I'm going to do this one more time, the old school way, and and we'll get you guys this video. Okay, let me share my screen. Should be seeing that again. Whoops, wrong screen. Technical difficulties. Definitely use yesterday's recording.
Eric, it looks like everyone else but me can hear the audio.
Oh, so it's your problem, dude.
Yeah, it looks like it's my problem. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, should have asked other people. Well, now you should hear it. Everybody, you included, Jake.
Yep. Introducing the Dynamics 365 Sales app. The best way to prepare for meetings, log info, and stay on top of your day. It puts everything you could possibly need in the palm of your hand. From Dynamics 365 and Outlook to Teams and more. So if you want to see meeting details like the agenda, who's invited, or projected sales figures, Or create and share meeting notes using dictation or your camera. Then attach them to a client's file as you head to your next call, which you can make directly from the app too. Search contacts and connect. Get real-time updates wherever you are. Join a Teams or other online meeting. The Dynamics 365 Sales app makes it easier than ever to update all your accounts quickly, access crucial sales information on the go, and make sure anyone contacting your customers has the most up-to-date information to make the best business decisions. It's as easy as. To see how the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Sales app can change the way you work and help you work better, just head on over to your favorite app store.
Okay, that's definitely the app you want to download right there. But I like showing that video because it takes what is normally all that marketing fluff. And no offense, Kyle, but they make it always seem like that's what the app's going to look like. Well, in fact, they finally did a marketing video where it looks like that. It doesn't slide in and out, and you're not going to have floating screens. I do apologize for that. But they have done an amazing job of cleaning up the interface. So one of the key things that's now available to you is more information from Exchange. So as you set up a meeting in Outlook and the right settings are set up in Dynamics, that information will automatically sync over to the app. And as you can see here, there's a little meetings menu, and you can see those meetings. You can even tap and join, and we'll talk about that in a little bit on another slide. But the idea being that your Dynamics and your Exchange can communicate and talk to one another, and that information and meeting attendees and all of that data that was in Exchange is now visible and referenceable inside of Dynamics. So very cool. You're able to see kind of the meeting details. You're able to take information and notes about that. But they're continuing to increase and improve what they call the Exchange server-side sync process that allows those two systems to work together. And the benefit or the end result is that now you don't need to jump between Sales and Outlook. It's all in one app. Okay. Any thoughts on that one, Rigo?
No, I think you covered it, and
Okay.
It's getting easier and easier.
Easier and easier.
That's my only add to that. It's getting easier and easier.
Yeah. So the next part about it is the idea of, hey, I need to be able to take a quick note or update a record. In the middle of the screen, you kind of see the video going where we're able to leverage the note capability. You can attach images, you can attach recordings, you can attach video, you can attach other files. It will only let you attach one at a time, just FYI. But you can also tap like your native keyboard microphone. You can use that for your voice dictation. They're continuing to improve that natural language processing and how it matches that. It's almost 100% in terms of all of the words that you say. So that's awesome. What's really cool is that once that note is created, we can set notifications to fire off. So kind of over on the right side of the screen, I can now do push notifications on my mobile device. And there's two types. One is an out-of-the-box notification of like, hey, this record's been assigned to you. You can also build custom push notifications using Power Automate that then you get to designate when they show up or when they're pushed and what that message is. So what kind of record and what the message is. Very cool functionality. Works really well. We'll talk about the assistant here in a second, and I'll try and remember the notion of the push notification. But all in all, what it's doing in terms of like the tracking and the set regarding is it's making it easier to not only update records, but it's easier to now be informed of when your records or records that you follow are also updated. So kind of goes both ways of keeping people informed and making it easier to make those updates. And I will say that during any part of this, if you have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat. You know, we'd love to answer those as you guys go through this. Okay. The next piece that we'll talk about kind of goes into more detail around how the meeting information from Exchange is actually pulled over into Dynamics, and then how Dynamics uses that to display, excuse me, that information. So you'll notice that little contact card next to the participants. Every meeting attendee will try and be matched to a contact or lead record. And as those are matched, it will build these little quick views or these lightweight cards to then be available, so that if you wanted to quickly go through all the attendees, pull up their details, you can do that. We'll talk about this in a minute, but the wonderful thing about Dynamics is that little quick view, you can change whatever those fields are that are displayed there. And if you want to make it so that the information you see about somebody when you click on their participant card, you can design whatever you want. And so that's the beauty of now this data living in Dynamics, is that when you display this little pop-up card, you don't have to show job title. You could show lifetime value of client, or you could show, you know, last closed opportunity, or whatever you guys wanted to track. You can configure that to be used here.
You can definitely optimize the forms how you guys see fit. So it's
Yep.
very, very cool.
Exactly.
And again, it's configuration, not customization, which is a great thing.
It's our favorite word.
Yes, absolutely.
Configuration. Okay, assistant cards. These are awesome. There are over, I don't know, 4 or 5 dozen out of the box assistant cards, but the assistant is kind of what they're implying with the name, meaning it is Microsoft's artificial intelligence tool inside of Dynamics that reads record data and then tries to synthesize that together into a little card to inform you, like, hey, FYI, or don't forget, or did you know? And that's really the purpose of the assistant and the assistant cards, is to be able to take those things that we would generally ask somebody, like, hey, don't let me forget this, or you're writing something down like, oh, I can't forget this. The assistant is built to help in that regard. And you might be asking yourself, well, that's awesome, but if there's only 4 dozen, you know, cards and scenarios for me to use, how does that help me if I want to know when a new product that we offered has been updated in the catalog? Well, guess what? Have no fear. Of course there's a way to solve for that. You can use Power Automate to build custom assistant cards. So if you wanted to, you could create your own custom assistant card, and then those would show up as in the right over here down at the bottom in that reminders section. So very cool functionality, very scalable.
So I was about to say, to extend it, you would just need Power Automate to do that. So you have what you get that Microsoft gives you out of the box, but you're not limited to what it gives you. You can definitely extend it to fit the needs.
Yep. So the other part about this that's cool, kind of on the left side of the screen, really is the newer, improved global search experience. Well, if you noticed in the release wave 2 of what also is coming is more search lookup and smart lookup. So here today, you've got like recent records that you've looked at that starts it. As you type, it will begin to find records that match that, and then it will group. So here you can see accounts, contacts. So it lets you do some filtering, but it's a cleaner UI and experience. If you compare this to the Dynamics app and you do the same search, you're going to get what I'll call just more clutter. And so they've really cleaned up, simplified, and made the UI easier to interact with and to read, and I've really appreciated that update.
One thing I do like about this one versus the Dynamics one is, if you notice, is it typically on the Dynamics just gives you the icon and you have to play the guessing game if this is an account. contact or a lead.
Yeah.
Now it tells you if this is a contact, this is a lead. Not only you have to look at the icon to determine that.
Yep. And so again, that's available here on the Sales mobile app, and cleaned up, very cool functionality on that side. Okay. Oh wait, I'm going to go back a second because I forgot to mention the segue of the assistant cards. Those assistant cards, when you're building custom assistant cards with Power Automate, remember that's the same Power Automate that you can use for custom push notifications as well. So assistant cards, although they're displayed in the app and in Dynamics on the web client, you can now extend those so that the same updates that you might want an assistant card for, you can turn those into push notifications to your device. Excuse me. Okay, join Microsoft Teams. So as you noticed, it will pull over that meeting information, and there is that Teams integration for the join, and you're able to now join those meetings. You'll notice here it prompted me to switch accounts, but the experience is the same in that when I tap join, it's going to move me over into Teams, but it's going to know exactly what meeting I'm joining and launching and all that fun stuff. So you can get there two ways. It's either in your up next section, which will always be changing because it's going to read what's up next on your calendar, or you could go down into the meetings menu at the bottom, find the meeting and join that way. If you remember Release Wave 2, they're now going to be building in more functionality so that when you do join these Teams meetings, whether from the app or not, those Teams meetings, if you've set up Dynamics to be integrated, those will begin auto capturing those calls and transcripts and storing them against the records. So super awesome. I'm excited about that, especially because we can stop doing it custom and building the integration. We can just turn on some settings. So all great things on the Teams front. Okay. Smart lookup.
Awesome. So what we've been looking at up to this point is basically either the search or the homepage from the new mobile app. But you may ask yourself, what if I want to get leads, opportunity, cases, sales orders? You still have that capability. They built out a more function that you'll see in a minute. And as you click onto that more function, it still gives you access to the entire suite package of the dynamic set. So it gives you the access to cases, leads, so any part of the system, you still have that capability to actually access it. Again, what we've been seeing is a lot on the homepage is kind of what's prevalent to your sales force out in the field, but they are not losing sight of what you still can have access to. You can still have access to the entire suite of offerings of what you guys do within the organization. So you have access to those additional entities, and it lets you optimize the forms as you see fit. But it also allows you to access records within the specific entities. And as you can see here, if you wanted to create a note for that specific record, you can do it in flight live. And as you update it on the road, this also updates at corporate office, right? So as people update this, anyone that's in Dynamics will be able to see it. So you can update a note here and say this is a note to remember, update a contract. So you can go ahead and update that information. Either make yourself a note here that you're updating it, or you can take a picture on your phone and attach it to it. So you have the capability to say, hey, I don't have time to make all these notes, but I jotted them down. I will follow back up on this, and you have these attached, and they're preserved within the timeline of that specific record.
Yeah, I had mentioned yesterday that this particular use case was one that for a client was interesting because they had a part of their sales force that was more apt and accustomed to using a notebook for all of their sales activity. And they were one of the challenges, and what we decided was let's make a compromise. Like, you have to put your note in, but the group has agreed that you can just take a picture of it and upload it. And what we found is that it was actually a trust issue. They didn't actually trust that he was working his pipeline because they could never see it because he didn't ever put anything in the tool. It was all on his notebook. And so even though he had a bunch of scribble on his notebook, when his manager would ask, like, okay, where are we at? How's the pipeline looking and everything? He'd be like, oh, we're looking pretty good. And he'd talk about some deals. There was never actually the evidence to back it up. As soon as he started dropping those in, it's not like people even began reading all of them, but they saw that he was going through the process and doing it. And his sales manager like backed up and was like, oh, okay, like you're progressing fine.
Yeah. And here you can just see where you still have access to the entire list of entities that you guys operate out of.
Yeah. Yep. And just a quick note on that, right? Like Rigo, again, he started in the sales app, and then he was able to launch back into the model-driven app version for the mobile, which is loading right now on the screen, which if you downloaded the Dynamics app, this would be the UI. Otherwise, if you stay in the sales app, it's that cleaner UI. So maybe one day they'll revamp the whole tool. Yep. But until then, you're right. You still can jump into the details. You can get to those other record types. They haven't cut you off from the rest of the Dynamics mobile app.
Yeah, and what you're seeing here is also it does have the click to dial, and it does create a call log activity for you. So kind of back to what Eric was mentioning, that trust issue. Now you can preserve all that information, not only from a notebook, but if you're making calls, what are you doing? What's discussion about? And then you can also attach those notes of that discussion. If you were on the phone jotting down notes, you can still attach those to that record.
Awesome.
Yep. Sales stats. Awesome. Sales team is always looking for what their pipeline looks like and kind of get those measures. So here you still have real-time sales stats. You'll see here that blue line there, that's one we're going to use here. So say you're on a call and you from a client came back and said, hey, I think our project's going to go a little higher than what we initially estimated. So you can go ahead and update this estimate. You'd be able to go ahead update it real time. It reflects on the dashboard immediately, and then kind of what Eric was mentioning in the slides before, you can get those real-time push notifications and have the whole team part of that project get that notification that, hey, our pipeline just increased. This is what we're thinking about now. So you see went from 780,000, now we're at north of $1 million of potential estimated revenue. So all that information is available to the Salesforce on the go, and it's real time.
That's great, Rigo. What happens if I don't have internet connectivity?
There is this awesome feature called offline. So if you were, say you were in a plane and you were getting all this information, and even your emails can be offline, but you're taking the opportunity, since you're going to be sitting there for 4 hours going from LA to Atlanta, going through that, you can update all that information, and once you hit internet connectivity, all that will just be updated, and it'll be a normal day operation. All the notifications will get sent out, and everybody in the team will get notified if there was any changes that were that met the criteria of those push notifications.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a very cool feature. You can configure what people are allowed to update while they're offline. And that is a great feature, right? Like, not always is somebody who is attached to their mobile device going to be online. So they have created this offline capability, and it works really well. Okay. So we've kind of gone through, here is the app out of the box, and kind of how it works and functions. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can change it. And we mentioned the lightweight quick view forms earlier, but that's going to be the fastest way to add additional navigation. So what I'm showing right now is these are all of the quick create actions. And so you can change what type of records you want to launch from that nice intuitive big plus button at the bottom when they hit create new. And so again, you can shrink that list down to like the 3 things that you want to do, or the 5 things. And then the second thing that we're able to adjust are these, forms that we show when people are looking at information. And again, all configurable, all based on form design. and is something that, you guys are, able to have control over of what you show. Another thing that's cool is that you can change the data that showed up pretty much on any of these tiles. So the meeting information or the profile of an attendee, like all of that, again, customizable, configurable, I should say, configurable through these quick view and quick create functions based for the mobile. And you can also embed an app in Outlook. So there's already the Dynamics 365 app for Outlook, but because of Dynamics and how it is kind of the cornerstone of the Power Platform, other apps can now be added to the Outlook add-ins and that launcher menu. And so if you wanted to, you could put this app inside of Outlook to be used. And I didn't put it on here, but you've already seen Teams mentioned a number of times. Today, you can also add your apps into Teams. So if you wanted to launch an app and use it in Teams, you could do that. All cool functionality, though. It is an extensible platform. It's pretty easy to embed it in other places. But the whole goal and focus around the app has been to make it easier to enter and access information, and to take things that used to be manual processes like reminders and notifications and then automate those through the assistant and like Power Automate. Okay.
Convenience.
Yeah.
Convenience.
And flexibility and scale, right? Like, oh, we changed our mind. We actually want it to say this. Instead of having to work with developers for 2 weeks, you go back into your Power Automate or in the record and you update it. Okay, we told you guys it was going to be a shorter session. I think we're about 30 minutes. Any questions from the group? Observations? Weather predictions for tomorrow? No, I'm just kidding. No pressure. Jake, why don't you wrap us up then with your snow? Hey, thanks, Brandon.
Yep, and I've posted the survey in the chat, so please take the time just to briefly fill that out, win some prizes. Thanks again, everyone, for attending. We appreciate you, and if you want to learn more or know more, please reach out to us, through the survey, through chat, give us a call. We'd be glad to chat with you and help, with any business challenges or needs and get you through what you have. I don't believe I see any other questions. Now's your chance. Free advice right now. You have the two main guys from our team. Free advice. You have a couple minutes. Anything and everything. Somebody do it. Take advantage.
Dynamics related only, though.
Anything. Nope, I opened it up.
Anything the old app can do that the new app can't. Nothing comes to the top of my mind, Kyle, on that. I don't think so. And yeah, it's probably the other way around, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the inverse.
Definitely the other way.
I think it's cleaner. The new Sales mobile app is much cleaner, more intuitive than the current one. It's not like I'm saying that you can't navigate through the current one, but new one is definitely more intuitive.
And your observation is spot on. It actually looks like an app now, and not some enterprise tool that they shoved into a mobile app. Appreciate it, everybody, and
thank you all.
Enjoy the afternoon, and we'll talk to you guys soon.